Hello there everybody. Today's video is about the installation of this Fass diesel fuel system titanium signature series pump, which is the Duramax model tsc10165g, which is the 165 gallon per hour for this motorhome, which is a 2004.5 Kodiak top kick C5500, very similar to the C4500. There's nothing on YouTube with one of these on a motorhome bed or chassis or whatever you want to call it, and I figured this might help you out, or at least take a little anxiety away before you put one on, because it's different than all the other videos in a couple ways. For one, the gas tank is in the very far back behind the rear axle, and this one's 85 gallons. Has a much longer frame. It's nothing like a Silverado or a 2500 HD type truck because there's no fuel cooler. It doesn't have that basket in the fuel tank. It just has a steel pickup line, and it shouldn't have the problem with a low tank, hopefully. But I cannot tell you that right now. Perhaps anybody with one of these in the comments below can tell me if they had to put a sump on it. But right now it does have a drain plug on the tank. I wired the ignition wire up to something on the inside, but I think it might be wrong, and I might just hook it up right here inside the fuse box, because it's already on and I didn't turn the ignition on. So, but it's the same thing that turns the car stereo on, so I can't figure out why, but I haven't really worked on that yet. Anyway, the main power I hooked in right in here, and I just grounded it out here since it's less than 10 amps, and that goes to, this is steel right here, and it's pretty thick. Here's the fuse for the Fass system that I just stuck in there, and it fired up. I have not started the engine yet, but it's been on for a few minutes, and I hear a lot of air cavitation. So there's the pump, and I'm going to go over the fuel lines in just a second. But the pressure on the little pump on the stock filter is very hard. I could not pump that pump for sure. And I'm going to leave the stock filter in there if it seems okay for now. But maybe I'll get one of those blocks. Some of them don't have really very good reviews, but I don't see what the problem is with triple filtering it, but maybe somebody in the comments below can help tell me why keeping that filter is a really bad idea. So we'll start it for the first time since I put it on. Nice. A lot of people say they hear an immediate difference. I don't. But she sounds good. And I didn't hear the engine have a really hard time with the air bubbles. I'm doing that with my foot. Anyway. let's go over the install real quick. I don't feel like editing this video, so I'm just gonna make it a one take. So here's the step to the top kick, and right next to it here's the fender or the wheel well. Right next to it is 4 bolts that are part of holding the body. So I did not install the rubber pad so I could maintain a good stiff rigidity right there. And the bolts got all the threads hooked up even though there's not anything sticking out there. And I was able to torque on them really hard. And it's not one bed bolt like a lot of people are getting with their Silverados, but it's actually two bolts that are holding onto this. And yeah, I put some labels on the thing so I don't mess up putting the filters in the wrong spot, but I don't think you can. Sounds like there's a little air in there. So I ran the fuel lines and the power line right over the frame, and you'll see here that right here the big line is down low, and here it goes up to the top for one reason or another, and that's your fuel line from the tank. And it goes into this adapter that comes with the kit, and then you hook it onto a fuel line here, which goes to the intake port of the pump. And what used to be hooked up to this is this. All right, and then that gets this little blue piece that comes with the kit that goes right into it, clicks in, and you put a piece of fuel line over it. This is just a zip tie holding it to the truck in a nice smooth way here, rather than pushing it up and zip tying it and making more of a kink here. Okay, so I'm leaving it down low. These 2 fuel lines are what you should recognize on your truck because they're flexible, and they're one of the only rubber parts of fuel line all the way from the gas tank to the engine, and they go right here up to the engine that way. But they have 2 disconnects. This is the return, the smaller one, and I didn't unhook that at all. And then you just unhook this pipe from this, put on their little blue adapter and their black adapter. Now this black adapter isn't in the directions. It shows something that looks like this, only backwards. Now they're making them like a black thing. But that's the only one you put a hose clamp on. The other ones, like this here, apparently can hold 300 psi before popping, and they don't need a hose clamp. So the magic question is, what size fuel line tool do you need to take apart this piece to this piece? It's a 1/2-inch tool. I bought it at O'Reilly's, and I will show you after I go down the fuel line here. So you got your fuel into the pump, your fuel comes out of the pump into this, and that goes up to the engine. Even though it looks like it's going back right here, it goes around and then back up to the engine. And this is your return line all the way back to the pump. And for one reason or another, that your Fass fuel pump doesn't tee into this line, your return line. Instead, they want you to run a lower pressure line, this line, the return line, all the way to the back. And in this RV, well, that is 22 feet of line. So the line they give you, you're going to run out of. So I used all their line here, 300 PSI, super heavy duty, push lock, 1/2 inch ID line. And then I started running it here till I ran out of it. It costs like $6 a foot at O'Reilly's. And the line I got from O'Reilly seems to be really good. It's a Gates line, 4219XL. It seems to have all the bells and whistles as far as fuel line goes. And this is running into a zero pressure environment, so it doesn't need to be high PSI, it just needs to be really good rubber. And it's the best fuel line they sell there. So right here I put a barbed 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch brass fitting I got at the hardware store. It was $6 or $7, and I clamped that, of course. I didn't cut all these zip ties yet, but I will. But this is inside the frame. Another video, some guy drilled into the frame and 100 people or more railed on him for that. Whatever. I did not drill into the frame, people. Keep running the fuel line here. The fuel line I ran at the top. Here, you could see it right here. And I maintained that all the way over the axle through that part, along with a zillion wires, as you could see. I had recently updated the RV to lithium batteries here. There's 200 amp hour lithium batteries now, and my charger slash converter worked great. That was in here, which is like an IntelliPower, and it charges really well at a high enough voltage. All right, so through the frame right here, the fuel line comes up past the inlet and the overflow to the tank, which is here. Here's the fuel line return. You could hear it. Pushing fuel down through the main fill tube. Now this is the one part of advice here, other than the 1/2 inch fuel line separator, that you're gonna really appreciate. This line that comes from where you put the nozzle into the gas tank, this is the line that came with my RV, and it is called Rubco Wonderflex. But see that magic number right there, 1 3/4? It's only 1 3/4 inside that. And it has wire in that marine grade fuel hose, keeping it from expanding. So it doesn't just open up like a lot of maybe radiator tubes might or something that don't have wire. So anyway, I had to heat it up really good to get this piece that comes with the kit into it, because guess what size it is? Yeah, 2 inches. So I got a 2-inch galvanized metal piece there into a 1 3/4 inch marine grade line by heating it up with a heat gun and getting it really warm, putting a bunch of silicone lube on it, and then just ramming it in there where it was really hot and it sucked. And they put this undercoating on this thing with tar, and the tar was getting all over everywhere, and it just was a mess. But did I get the fuel line on from the front to this? Yeah. And did the engine just start? Yeah. I'm going to keep a good eye on this. I trust the hose clamps will hold it. It's got enough rubber. They don't, you know, it's all the way up plus a little extra rubber. It's not like it's barely on there. And I'll give it a good yank every once in a while and make sure it's on there good. I think maybe if there's like a 1 3/4 to 2 inch adapter and you cut a bunch more out and use 2 pieces more tubing, and or maybe they sell one of these deals that's only 1 3/4 for like a Cummins or a Ford or something different. I don't know. But I thought you'd find that interesting. Here's that giant 85-gallon tank. I mean, it goes all the way over to the rear end over there. It is huge. So, wasn't going to drop that. Anyway, what else can I tell you? I'll show you the tool. It's kind of, you got to keep playing with it. Trust me, it's 1/2 inch. But this tool can be 4 different fuel line separators. And you got to like open this and ram it into where the big part is and keep pushing it really hard while you push it off. Because if there's any space that opens up between this side and this side with that fuel hose piece, it won't come off. And I just kept pushing really hard, like pushing this side with that piece off, and it finally came off. So anyway, you could see it's in a really good spot right there, and you can see it doesn't hang down at all. And it could come down. I just pushed it up there after I got it all together. Then that mount for this Fass system is really nice compared to what I saw for that AirDog. And if you guys are considering AirDog or Fass, I saw a Fass video yesterday that shows them mixing some water in with diesel fuel, and then it shows both systems trying to take that same amount of water out in a fast period of time, and shows inside the filters of the AirDog and the Fass. And he goes into detail, and I don't think there's any comparison. I think for some reason people like the name AirDog. Kind of sounds like raw dog and something, I don't know. It doesn't, I don't think there's any comparison. AirDog has had a lot of problems over the years, and maybe they fixed them now. That's great, but they've had enough problems that thousands upon thousands of people have been stuck on the side of the highway. So I don't think that there's any comparison between the two. I would go with the Fass system. I've done a lot of research. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments if it helped you, and any additional advice you have for other people. I'm sure they read the comments. This is took me an all-day job, and it works. Thanks a lot.